Well, now to discover the heart of Australia, the great Aussie outback. And we're going to do that from here in Sydney, our favourite vantage point overlooking the Harbour Bridge and Opera House here, right through the Red Centre to Darwin in the top end. From Sydney in a marathon road trip, we'll drive hard to reach the outback of New South Wales and South Australia before heading north right through the Northern Territory and over to the little-known Tiwi Islands. Well, as I say, it is a marathon road trip. 90 hours of driving, we estimate, over the next couple of months. Time to hit the road. Country New South Wales is playing at a more leisurely pace. The cricketers at Bathurst, mineheads at Cobar. In the outback, fences disappear and animals of all varieties are free to roam onto the road ahead. I travel into the centre of Broken Hill, the oldest mining city in Australia. It's been called the Silver City because of its massive deposits of silver and lead. Back in the driver's seat, I'm about to encounter some of the millions of feral animals that populate outback Australia. There are bleating goats, and further up the road, bleating donkeys. Stubborn as these three. Come on, guys, clear the road. Ahead, a former mining settlement that time has almost forgotten.
Can you see me, man? I'm the Night Rider.
We leave the Night Rider to drive across the border into South Australia. We're heading now for the ruggedly spectacular Flinders Ranges, a trip we'll feature in the next episode of Travel Oz. We're driving from one side of Australia to the other. From the mining city of Broken Hill in New South Wales, we're crossing into South Australia. Well, Australia it is then, thanks Alf. Time for us to head further east across the South Australian outback, towards another giant salt lake, Lake Eyre. Our next destination is the tiny township of William Creek, home to just 9 people, most of them working here in this hotel. Back in our van, we're heading east now, out of the Flinders Ranges. Our destination, a ghost town, the ruins of a settlement that once helped open the outback to settlers. We're approaching Coobapedy, the town the locals call the opal capital of the world. This is dangerous territory. Take a wrong step and you could fall to your death down an abandoned mine shaft. Our marathon road trip is taking us from one side of Australia to the other. Over the border from South Australia into the Northern Territory we head. A 4-hour drive now directly west, taking us to the iconic landmark we'd been looking forward so much to seeing. We're about to explore Uluru in this edition of Travel Oz. Hello, I'm Greg Granger. As we're about to find out, there's a lot going on around Uluru. Back on the road, the sparse red plains are giving way to shrubs and trees. We've crossed into the top end, where there's been far more rainfall. Oh, dear, dear, dear. Well, such are the variations of conditions here in the outback. Now, we haven't seen a drop of rain for weeks and weeks and weeks, and yet, now we've reached the top end, here's a flooded river. We were hoping to get through to the Mataranka Springs and the famous Mataranka homestead, but I don't think there's any way we're getting across that. And that is this episode of Travel Oz. I'm Greg Granger. Happy travels.